Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We've played every mission in the mainline Halo video games, and now we're playing every mission from the rest of the games in the franchise in chronological order. Each episode will be discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the Under the Dark mission from Halo Wars 2 on the next episode. If you like what you hear and want to support the show, visit Podcast Evolved on Patreon. You can also receive a free audiobook trial by visiting audibletrial.com/podcastevolved. This episode, we're debriefing the Hold the Line mission from Halo Wars 2. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
Hey! Oh, wait. Hornets are the best answer.
The best answer. They do lots of things.
They do at least two things. They fly and they shoot.
Yep, you're right. Last mission was From the Deep. Atriox responded to the death of Decimus with fury on multiple fronts. Above the Ark, the Banished deployed a Banshee assault on the Spirit of Fire from their flagship, the Enduring Conviction. On the surface, they stormed the beach near the firebase that Alice 130 was desperately getting up and running. With tensions mounting, the UNSC successfully defended their location against waves of Banished armies and an epic confrontation against a gigantic scarab. Now in Hold the Line, Professor Anders uncovers a way to contact help, but it requires releasing a Halo from the Ark's refinery. Unfortunately, the plan requires time, and the Spirit of Fire doesn't have much left before the Banshee assault overwhelms the ship. Inspired by the idea of getting off the Ark, Isabel comes up with a two-part plan that will eliminate the Enduring Conviction and level the playing field. First up, take down the Banished assault carrier's shields using a Forerunner particle cannon. The date of the game is April 1st, 2559. We made it to a cutscene. Oh, it's been a while.
There are cutscenes in this game?
Cutscenes.
It's been a minute, and we get spoiled here. Actually, the next two missions we get very, very spoiled. David, you want to take us through this thing?
Yeah, this one starts really cool, and I think it's kind of funny because I watched them during when I played the mission, but I also went back and watched them on YouTube, and I have like the YouTube video I've been kind of referencing for the shows is kind of like all of them matched one after the other.
Yeah.
And like the last cutscene was Cutter giving his big speech to Isabel, but we're not going in, we're not running, we're staying and we're fighting. The next cutscene is them getting their ass kicked in the very fight that they're not running from, and it's like, oh shit. It's kind of funny how that plays. So it starts off with like a battle scene that you kind of knew was happening anyway from the last mission. You heard that like Spirit of Fire has been under attack from the Covenant cruiser. In terms of like real time, they're still alive. I don't know how, because this is maybe an hour or two, if not longer, of a battle when you add up all the time you spent in the previous mission, and the mission that comes right after it. So like
from like when they first deployed the Banshees.
We're under attack, but yeah, and then we're like still alive, still holding out somehow.
But it's just Banshees though, right? It's not bigger ships that are attacking it. Just a whole lot of Banshees.
Just a whole lot of Banshees, I guess. So it kind of shows you all these Banshees ducking and diving in this kind of space battle. Doesn't look like the Spirit of Fire has deployed any anti-ship kind of units. They're just firing their own turrets, their own guns from their own ship.
Yeah.
I can't remember if the Spirit of Fire has a complement of like defense ships. It may not. After Halo Wars 1,
they weren't referenced in Halo Wars. I don't.
So I think it's just that. So they're kind of struggling. Anders comes online, kind of like, I can't do my best work under these conditions, but I think I have an idea. Cutter is just like asking for various sit reps. He's multitasking like a crazy ass captain is. Isabel kind of like chimes in with like how we doing? And he's like, we're not doing great. And this is but it's like, you don't worry about it, I'll worry about it. You just tell me how long we can last this for that. And she says, pretty much not long. Against what we have, we're losing too many guns. And then Anders kind of comes in with her crazy ass plan. She kind of throws her data pad onto like the table, and it kind of like holograms up. It's pretty dope.
So cool.
Yeah. And she says, actually, I think what we're going to do is we're going to build a halo. So inside the Ark is a pre-made, almost finished halo that's kept there at all times in case it needs to be replaced for the array. So her plan is to disable the firing mechanism and build this halo, which can be transported to one of the previous 7 locations. And something clicked in my brain when I heard Cutter's conversation saying that it was the Master Chief discovered the first halo ring not too far from Reach. So that would be within a comms buoy. So you kind of think the plan is to then send this ring to that location, the one near Reach. And we
the one that he blew. So this is installation for a replacement.
Yeah, so this would be send it to that location, which is very interesting given the fact that we have a new Halo novel coming up about going back to Reach, and I wonder if any of this ties in, which would be cool, but we can talk about that a little bit later when we get to like other events of this game. So pretty much Cutter is like, he puts his plan together really fast. He's like, Isabel, get ready, we're going to like essentially prep for this. He's just like, okay, I know what to do in terms of like, Anders, get you down there, but I just don't know what to do about this fucking ship in front of me. And then I was just like, okay. And then Isabel just is kind of like crazy intense stare down of the hologram and comes up with a plan. And she's like, yeah, I can take this. And she does a whole hologrammy move arm swipe thing that we love from Minority Report. And she has a plan. Kind of says like, I need Anders on the ground, I need some ground troops at these two locations to buy me time, and I'm gonna break one of the rules of this battlefield essentially. So that's all mysterious. I'm like, oh, what's she doing? What's this Trixie AI up to? But Cutter is kind of buying into it a little bit, so he's like, okay, you're confident, I like it, let's do it. So she kind of stares at the ship and kind of says, it brought the monsters here, it killed everyone I was made to protect, all my friends, and now it wants to do that to you. I'm not going to let it. I'm going to show them the meaning of power, which is like, crazy scary for an AI. And then the kind of cutscene kind of ends, and you're kind of like, oh shit.
She knows, she's been on the Ark, so she knows what this Ark is capable of. And the breaking of the rules, that's an interesting line, I think, and it doesn't become clear until the next mission, like what that actually means. It could have been written differently, but I feel like they wrote it that way, breaking the rules to make it a little more mysterious. Yeah. And we have some fun ahead of us, so yeah, really good. Krista, any thoughts on this cutscene?
It is brilliant. It is gorgeous. It is fun. Like David said, I love all the hologram stuff. I love every time they interact with technology. Because it's so satisfying for them to just be able to pull all this shit up just from hand gestures. And of course, Isabel is really badass in this cutscene. You kind of get a look into her character and into her motivations and stuff like that. And it's nice to see it.
And it also shows her arc kind of changing a little bit, back from, the scared shitless AI to the confident, I'm going to stir some shit up AI.
Well, yeah, she's a little more confident now, she's pissed off. So this is the ring. So Chiefy Boy, he took out 04 way back in 2552, and then he broke the replacement soon after that. And so this Halo must be complete, and it's just been chilling in the Ark for, 4 or 5 years, right? This Halo that they've been talking about?
Oh yeah, probably.
So, yeah.
It's not complete yet, of course. I'm guessing.
Are you sure? No, I think it is.
Completely complete?
Well,
it would have been.
Anders says in the cutscene that it's an almost complete.
Oh,
ring.
She does. Okay.
Because if it was
so it's
complete,
still building itself. It would have been deployed. You're saying?
Yeah, because if it was complete, it would be where installation 04 is supposed to be.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, maybe that process may not be automatic. Like that might need someone to actually instigate sending.
Well, that wouldn't make any sense
ring,
because the whole thing is it's a fail-safe. If one of the rings gets accidentally destroyed, a new ring is built and then automatically put in its place.
But do you think that's dependent? I think David's saying to the point of Hunters in the Dark, the monitor isn't around anymore.
Oh, yeah, that might be it, yeah. The monitor
Events
might
have
have to,
transpired.
Yeah, because you're opening a big-ass slip space portal.
Yeah.
Which we know when
So if you
Halos go through slip space, it fucks up slip space in that area for a while.
Yeah. So if you read Hunters in the Dark, it has a lot of arc stuff. I think I might have mentioned it at the on the first episode. And one of the outcomes is that the monitor is bye-bye. The monitor went a little nuts. And it's no longer around. So, what's the name? Do you guys remember the name of the monitor? Solitude? Tragic Solitude?
I think so, yeah.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
I think that's it.
Do some Googling.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting lore there. And the other thing about this cutscene is we haven't really been explained what the hell an arc is, or a Halo is yet. As the player, like if you're just coming and playing this game, I mean, you're probably playing this game because you're familiar with the series and whatnot, but the only I guess hint at what it is in like Isabel's direct dialogue. She says, "Oh, you mean galaxy destroying super weapons?"
Yeah.
And that's really it. We don't know how Anders learned what a Halo is. There was no revelation with Cutter. There's no Halo in Halo Wars 1.
And they were out of commission in 2552. How did they know that Master Chief even found a Halo near Reach unless they had like...
Well, Master Chief came here, so somehow that knowledge in like the UNSC was on this ring, so maybe that knowledge somehow.
Isabel probably knows.
That.
Isabel might have just told him or given him the files or something like that, and he's been perusing them. A little light reading.
Right. Well, you would imagine that that's happened because I mean we've had what six missions without a cutscene, so Cutter's got to be doing something. He's got to be learning a little bit, or Isabel's giving him some sort of download. But that is a little, and I don't remember it in the Phoenix logs either. Like in any of the dialogues that you've given us the last couple episodes, they don't really mention the Halo, do they, Krista? Are you recalling that?
No, I don't think so. I think this is the first mention.
Yeah, I did go back, and they do mention it for a hot second in, I think Isabel mentions it. Let's see, where did I write it down? She mentions it. Oh, I don't have it here. I think it's a couple of missions ago. She just mentions it in some in-game dialogue about a Halo. So it does get dropped in there for a second, but other than that, it's not really mentioned at all. So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting point. You know, if you're a newcomer, you probably know what a Halo is, but anyway. Let's see here. Let's talk about, since David finally got a chance to talk about a cutscene, I'll do the mission briefing. And we go back and forth between Douglas. So Douglas is our man on the ground here, and he's just talking back and forth and saying that we're on site at the Forerunner particle cannon, and we've targeted the banished carrier. So this big thing that you see in this gameplay cut is the particle cannon itself, and Anders is down there as well. And did you guys know that you can see Anders during the mission? Like she's down there the whole time.
She's in like a floaty like console thing, and she's like a star on the map.
Didn't realize that till the very end.
Yeah, she shows up in that last cutscene. I was like, I wonder if, because I never really go down to the particle cannon. I mean, I played this mission a few times to get familiar with it. But if you do go down to the bottom of the screen by that particle cannon, you can see her in this little thing that Chris just mentioned. So yeah, we just really go back and forth with Cutter and Anders, and they're saying, all right, let's fire it. Anders is locked on. And then the other interesting thing, and it'll be interesting to go to the next mission because they also talk with Jerome. And so Jerome and Alice are at the second position that Isabel mentioned during her plan. And so there is some dialogue back and forth between Douglas and Jerome, which I think is neat. And we'll see how they play with that in the next mission. The mission summary is protect the Forerunner particle cannon from the Banish until it breaks through the carrier shields. And the scouting report says build turrets and deploy your army across Banished routes leading to the cannon. Now,
and oh boy, do you build turrets.
Yes, you do. Before I get into the objectives and stuff, I just want to talk about this mission high level a bit, because the last mission was from the deep, and that was an assault, a similar type of an assault, but that didn't feel as tower defense-y as this mission. like as soon as I started playing this mission, it was like, oh, this is a tower defense mission. Versus when we played the last one, it didn't feel the same way. Do you guys have any sense as to what the difference is, David? Did you get that sense right away?
Yeah, I think it's because they're not attacking. Like in the other mission, they're attacking you directly. They're coming straight for the base that you have that you're defending, and it's kind of like it's just an unusual, let's say, shaped map with multi kind of routes. This one is like they have to come along a set corridor to get to you, and they're trying to get to something past you that you're defending. And I just felt the corridors, the way that they have the random turret placements all over the map. I say random, but I mean like not connected to your base. Like you have these separate building construction sites that you can build on, that you're constantly rebuilding, and there's waves of enemies and different types and stuff. I don't know. I never considered the previous mission like tower defensey as opposed to this one, where there feels like there's a lot more lanes and kind of like direction to what the enemy is trying to do.
I think it's because the lanes are elongated. Like, the lanes are super short.
You can see them from a long ways away.
It's like, these are like actual like snaking lanes on the map that you can see. I think that's the difference. I think in the other mission, it was just like these little... The lanes were basically just where they spawn from. There are 3 different spawn points, and that's pretty much it. These are like huge lanes that they have to snake through, and then you can build up defenses and stuff to, you know, get some people dead before they get to your barriers.
Right. I think the other point is, we also have the barriers, so that's kind of a tower defense type mechanic as well. But also, the Banished don't really care about any of the armies, any of the UNSC that's in front of them. Like, they'll shoot at them, but they'll just keep going. Because their objective is to get to that barrier, get through the barrier, and destroy that particle cannon. They don't care about trying to fight the UNSC along the way. You know, obviously they want to survive, but in the last mission... To Chris's point, where they spawn, they'll at least engage the armies on the beach and on the different areas of the map before they move forward. Here, they just go. They just like those ghosts. When those ghosts come out, they just go. They don't care about anything. You know, they'll shoot a little bit here and there, but they're headed for that barrier no matter how many people are in front of them. So yeah, very tower defense, which is brand new. Like this is the first. We didn't even have any of these in Halo Wars 1, did we? I don't think it had anything that felt like this.
No, not really.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. All right, so the objectives are defend the particle cannon, number 1 objective, and only main objective. Optional objectives are build all the available base plots, and there's 3 scattered around. 1 is pretty obvious, and the other 2 are hidden. The other optional objective is to keep the barricades intact. That's a lot of fun, especially if you're trying to do this just one playthrough. That's pretty tough. The bonus objectives are kill 5 units with the turret drop. And I think, did we get turret drop last mission too? Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then kill 10 enemies with the light bridge. And that one I have an issue with, and I'll just talk about it right now. So the light bridge, I couldn't get it to work unless a Banished went to that spot and interacted with it.
Huh?
Yeah. So I would send my little Marine over to that light bridge controls that's in the middle of the map, and I couldn't open it, or I couldn't turn it on or turn it off myself.
I think you can only turn it off.
I think so. What I read in the guide is once one of the Banished turn it on, then you can turn it on and off. But I couldn't do anything until, like, one of the first playthroughs I did is, the Banished got there because I was, all over the place. I didn't do very well the first playthrough. They got to the light bridge and activated it, and then, like, you're told, and some of the dialogue says, "Oh, the Banished have turned on that light bridge. Now they have a shorter route to get to the particle cannon. You better go turn that off." So I went and turned it off, and I did end up killing some of the units that were on top, but it wasn't enough to get the objective. And then every playthrough since, because I kind of sorted out how to do this mission, I just wasn't able to get to that. I wasn't able to interact with the light bridge. It was weird. So I haven't been able to get gold on this because there's no time bonus on this mission. So the par time is 31 minutes and 55 seconds. So pretty much just whenever you beat the mission, because there's that countdown timer. You don't get a time bonus. They've just taken that away because you just if you beat the mission, you've you've matched the part time, so they're not giving that to you. But when you look at the total scores, you need all of the multipliers in order to actually get to gold. So you need all of the bonus objectives. So the best score on this mission is also the gold score. It's 54,000, which is a little frustrating. So anyway, so I did do one playthrough late last night, where I just played on easy, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try really hard to let them get there, but apparently I'm too used to the mission, especially on easy, so I never was able to get a banished up into the light bridge controls to activate the light bridge, so I just couldn't get to it. So anyway, a little frustrating. But alas, I will get there, because I do need to get that achievement that has there's an achievement that for completing all of the objectives in the game, so I do need to get that.
Yes,
Chivos,
yes, Chivos. Listen to us, Colin. Come get us, Colin.
Oh, you know, I got plenty of Chivos. Yeah, I'm up there. The scoring goals, as I mentioned, gold is 54,000, bronze is 25 to 53, or excuse me, silver is 25 to 53, and bronze is 9 to 24. There are 2 skulls, and one is when you get one for no barricades being destroyed, and that unlocks sickness. And sickness is all player units have 50% fewer hit points. Ouch.
Oof.
The final score increases, though. The second skull is keep the particle cannon above 50% health. That unlocks Firestarter. And that skull has grunts and marines explode upon death, inflicting damage on enemy units. That sounds fun, but the final score decreases with that one. There's lots of explodey skulls in this in this game. All right, Krista, what do you got for the toy box?
Oh my gosh, we have so much stuff! It's amazing!
There's lots.
So the only hero unit we have is Douglas. Jerome and Alice are off, doing whatever. They're on the second phase of assaulting the Enduring Conviction, which we will see next mission. The fire base you start as a combat station, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's such bullshit. You start.
It takes a little bit to build her up.
It's so dumb. You start with 5 structure slots. You upgrade to a command center with 7, and then a headquarters. So you have 3 upgrades to do to your base. One's 1,000, one's 1,500 of the lightning bolts, which is bullshit.
So build those power nodes.
I know it's ugh. That's like the only thing you need the power nodes for. Everything else, it's like once you upgrade your base, you can just get rid of them. Base defense, turrets, anti-infantry, anti-vehicle, anti-air, and the siege turret. And the siege turret is great because it's got a long ass range. It's amazing.
Yeah, I built a couple of those in my base, and they're pretty nasty.
Oh, they're so good. We have a couple units. We have Marines, which have the grenade throw to be upgraded, and combat tech, which means engineers can heal vehicles, and you can get a rocket launcher. So you can upgrade those Marines, but why would you? So we have, of course, our supply pad, our generator, which you can upgrade, our barracks, which you can upgrade, which has Hellbringers and Cyclopses. Don't even bother with that. You can get a garage with Warthogs, Wolverines, and Scorpions if you upgrade your base to the max. And of course, we have our wonderful, wonderful air pad with our Hornets, and of course, our Nightingales. Oh my god. They're so good. Oh my god, I freaking love the Nightingales. And then we have our armory, which has Fortify Base Upgrade 1 and 2, Advanced Logistics 1 and 2, Reinforcements 1 and 2, and Fortify 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, that might be a typo. Sorry, I made the notes.
That's fine.
Double fortify.
Double fortify. And we have so many Spirit of Fire abilities.
Yeah, there's lots.
We have Restoration Drones, which can be upgraded, Archer Missiles, which can be upgraded, Battle Hardened, which you can unlock, Lotus Mines, which can be upgraded, don't do it, ODST Drop, Turret Drop, which can be upgraded, and R and D1, reduced costs for upgrade, research time, and turrets have shields, which I think you get, right? You just get that, which is really nice. Thank you for giving us just something.
It's a nice little passive, yeah.
So, no hero units for the Banished. Their ground units are Grunts and Brutes. Jump Pack Brutes, which suck. Suicide Grunts. elites, and hunters. Vehicles are ghost choppers, marauders, wraiths, and locusts. They're just throwing everything. Everything except Scarab. Our air units are spirit dropships and banshees. Spirit dropships are great because you can just blow them right out of the sky. I did that a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And of course our leader powers, which are bullshit. The glassing beam, every 5 minutes. The vortex lightning, every 5 minutes he throws one at you because he's an asshole.
And they're back to back always.
Yes,
right?
it's such bullshit. And then the Vanished can also buff their units as well. So it's a lot of stuff. We get a lot of stuff, but also they get a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they get. There's no new units for them, but we get everything we've seen from them outside of the Scarab already. So yeah, a lot to throw out. Good variety in this mission, that's for sure. But I feel like the strategy-wise, I'm interested to hear how you guys do it. Like, I feel like there's just really one really good strategy. So, I'm sure there's multiple ways to do it. But the opening cutscene is interesting because it has Douglas down there on the ground, and he's he's right outside the particle cannon. You see that thing go off, and they're really just kind of going back and forth about using that thing, and that Atriox is not going to be so happy, and he's going to send everybody at them. So they do mention the fact that they don't have access to the portals anymore, which is good. So he says, okay, they can't put portals and kind of like attack us from multiple areas, or just kind of drop their armies in the middle of where we're at. So they have to do this traditional frontal assault, as they call it. So that from that standpoint, it makes sense that this is a really a tower defense type mission, because they're just sent wherever the Banished are on the arc. They're just sending them, and they're just kind of coming through these different lanes, and all they care about is taking out that particle cannon, because that thing's given the enduring conviction a good beating right now. All right, let's talk about, I don't know, who wants to go first? Krista, do you want to go first? Or David?
I don't know. I would be happy to go first, unless David would like to go first.
Nah, go on. Go for it, Krista.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with
Yeah, so I played Heroic, of course, because Colin doesn't like me.
Because you're heroic.
Yeah, because I'm heroic and Colin doesn't like me.
You're heroic. You're also legendary.
I'm legendary, but only in Combat Evolved right now. But I've beaten it
Right.
on legendary previously. So,
Yeah.
of course, the base is bullshit and only has 5 slots, so you're going to want to rectify that pretty much immediately. You're going to upgrade your generator, and then you're going to put supply pads on all other remaining spaces of your base, which is only 5 spaces right now. And then there are 3 mini bases. You're going to immediately grab your Warthog and go to those 3 mini bases, take them over, put supply pads, and on the one with 2, put another generator, upgrade that. Oh no, I did 2 generators, and I both upgraded those. And of course, there's a bunch of, nice little power nodes everywhere that you can take over, and also little supply caches that have power. So go ahead and do all that. And then you're going to want to upgrade your base. You're going to want to set down a vehicle depot and an air pad, and you're going to want to start turning out Hornets as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to turn out a bunch of Hornets. Of course, you're going to be gaining lots and lots of lightning bolts as well, so we're going to wait to make vehicles until we have that 3rd base upgraded so we can start churning out Scorpions. But for now, we're going to do a couple Marines here and there. I usually put them on that base by the power node, by the bridge controls. I like to pepper a couple of ODSTs and some Marines over there.
So you can put them like on the ledge that overlooks those lanes? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just keep them in that area because jetpack brutes will come up there and destroy all your shit.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
I always make sure I have a little infantry up there. And then, of course, all of the units start coming at you. The first two waves are pretty easy. They're just infantry, so you're going to have a couple Hornets, and then whatever you started with, and you're just going to put them smack dab right by the barrier. Now, that barrier, you're going to want to prioritize 2 turrets. One.
So which barrier? Sorry.
The first one they go to. The one by the bridge.
Oh, so you put all your units there.
Yeah, so that's the first one they're going to attack. So you're going to...
So you wait for them to go all the way around.
Yeah, because they just run past you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to want to, of course, drop 2 turrets, 1 anti-vehicle, 1 anti-infantry, keep them there. of course, the next part of the barrier, which is the bigger part, which on heroic, the original barrier will probably fall. So go ahead and put 2 turrets over there on the next barrier after they break the first one.
Sure. Were you switching? I know you're progressing through the mission, but were you eventually switching the specialties of the turrets? Or did you build them as like anti-infantry and then keep them as anti-infantry?
I tried to always have so the other barrier, the very far barrier, the next one that gets attacked, only has vehicles. So I just put 2 anti-vehicles because nothing else comes over there.
Yeah.
So
gotcha. So you just specialize them for the whole mission.
Yeah, because you kind of know what kind of units are going to be hitting what barriers. So the initial barrier kind of is a mashup. You get a lot of infantry and you get a lot of vehicles. So you have turrets to help you with each. So at this point, you probably have enough stuff to upgrade your base again. Once you upgrade your base, you're going to want to get rid of all of the generators and switch them to supply pads, because you still have those 2 little ones still going. And just kind of hoard supplies and start churning out as many scorpions as you possibly can.
Oh, scorpions.
Yep. Scorpions,
Okay.
It was a mix-up between scorpions, hornets, and nightingales is what I used.
Yeah, okay.
So once there's about, I think it's 2 or 3 waves that come through to that initial barrier, you're going to want to take all of your units and go to the lower barrier, because that's the next one that's going to be attacked. And then those units I just kind of left there and then started churning out new units for the initial barrier, and just did that. And then once I had 2 little armies going, I had enough lightning bolts to make an armory, so I got rid of one of my supply pads, made an armory. I think I only upgraded once to the more units thing.
Oh, so you only had 100 other reinforcements.
Yep, so I upgraded that, of course, and then immediately got rid of the armory, replaced it with another supply pad. And then I had a couple all of the newer units just hung out by the base. So I had 3 kind of pods going on, the one at the initial barrier, the one at the vehicle barrier, and the one at the base, and they just kind of sat there, did their thing. I resupply if the initial barrier or if one of the barriers units went down, and they had nightingales and stuff, but every once in a while they'd get wiped, I would take the base units, move them to that barrier, and then start building up a new base unit. And so that's how I did it, and that's about it.
Just kind of endured the assault.
The once you kind of know what's going to hit you when, you kind of are prepared to just, throw some things here and there.
What was the most annoying enemy for you?
Probably the wraiths, because they really just tear through those barriers. Also, the jetpack brutes. When I first started, the jetpack brutes were really annoying because they just destroy that base and then take over that power node, which I needed because at that point I usually didn't have any other power nodes going other than the one close to the base. So that was annoying, but once I dropped like 1 ODST crew in and then a couple Marines and that just had them sit there and they pretty much took out everything. Every once in a while I'd throw Douglas over there to help them.
What leader powers did you use the most?
Archer missiles, and then I used healing a couple times when my nightingales were down.
Yeah. That makes sense. Did you use the turret drop at all?
Not really.
I used it a couple times. There is the bonus objective that you just got to kill 5 units. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, on heroic I was just trying to live.
Yeah.
Like the third run went really smoothly. My first 2 runs were pretty bad. One I got to like a minute and then the power node died. Because the power node does not last very long. So my first 2 runs, I was just kind of getting to know everything, and then once I kind of had a strategy figured out, it went pretty smoothly.
You mean the power node?
Oh, not the power node. Yeah, the particle cannon, sorry. Yeah, the particle cannon was like a minute, and then it got destroyed, because the particle cannon...
Once they get to it.
Every once in a while, a unit will get through, but it'll be like almost dead, so I just let the turrets take it out, and I don't worry about it. But if one of...
Yeah, there's a bunch of turrets. It just gives you a bunch of turrets on that
yeah, so I upgraded them all, made sure they're all good, and then usually I check. You could see the red dots going towards it, and I check and be like, oh, that unit's 1 hit. I'm not even going to worry about it.
Yeah. Makes sense. Nice. David, how did you do?
Far less exciting than Krista.
Less exciting?
Well, I'm playing on normal, so it's not too bad. I didn't use all the bases, mostly because I didn't think I found one of them, but I used two and pretty much did like a bunch of Nightingales to kind of heal everything, because in the last mission I was like, yeah, that's a great idea, why didn't I do that more? Lots of Hornets, and I did a bunch of Scorpions, so it was kind of just like a couple of ground troops here and there, a lot of ODSTs. Oh god, I love ODSTs.
I love how they're depicted in this, because they have like their laser sights, so you
yeah,
know which ones the ODSTs are.
they're just so badass. I did do the turret drop a bit just to kind of slow the enemy down.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked them. I didn't use it at all in the last game. I totally forgot it was even there. But I tried.
They blow up after a while too.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, but they're useful. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they do a good job.
Yeah. That was kind of useful. So I managed to save the 2 barricades, but again, it was like normal. So it was like I just had like Scorpions on either end, and just had one big roving aerial squad to move around and pretty much take out different areas. Kind of cut it close a little bit near the end once or twice, but it wasn't too difficult. Like when all the locusts come in and start wrecking shop and stuff, like, and they just take out your Scorpions really fast.
Did you split your squads similar to what Krista was doing?
A little bit, but not as much. Like I'm not great at the multitasking as I probably should have been. Not anymore. But I had like some units on each kind of barricade area, but I mostly just had a blob of Hornets and Nightingales that I kind of moved around and healed. I used a lot of I used a couple of the Lotus Mines this time around, just in case they did stuff, and I used a bunch of Archer missiles to kind of like soften units where I didn't have enough kind of ground forces to kind of deal with the situation. But overall, it's pretty enjoyable. I like, when you see them coming around the routes and you kind of have time and like you have your turrets built up to kind of like whittle them down a little bit. Those jump pack brutes are kind of badasses. Do you know what I mean? You have to kind of you can't just let them roam free and you wait for them to come to the barrier. You have to go and engage them, otherwise they take out a bunch of your turrets and one of your kind of mini bases. I didn't even bother or even realize there was a light bridge, so I didn't go near any of that kind of shenanigans.
Okay, so they didn't activate it for you?
Oh, and if they did, I didn't even realize. I wasn't paying attention to it.
Sure.
I think I vaguely remember seeing the console, like the thing, but not actually really taking in what it was. No, it's cool, simple enough kind of mission.
Did they make it to your base, your main base?
I think I got one or two vehicles. They did, like, I kind of ignored that base for me was just like resources. Do you know what I mean? Just pumping out resources. Yeah. So like I didn't go back there too often. I was kind of using all my mini bases to kind of make my air units. And I think I had the Scorpions coming out of the main base. So I must have had one of the garage there. Yeah. Yeah, it took some damage, but it was kind of fine. I just brought some Hornets over when I needed them. It was cool.
Did you have any trouble with the Banshees that come in towards the end?
It was mostly air versus air, and I had enough of them there that it wasn't too bad near the end. Nice. I had some anti-air kind of turrets up near my base and stuff.
The anti-air turrets wipe those things out.
Yeah, they're really good. They're really good. Mm-hmm. No, I didn't change my turrets the way you said. Like, kind of specialized some of them as vehicles and some of them as like infantry. And I kind of forgot there was a siege option.
Yeah,
I probably should have used that. But again, on normal, it was totally fine.
Nice. I used I did 2 siege turrets at my main base. Once you built up a little bit, I guess I'm just gonna go. No, I guess I'm gonna go up and down because that's like I didn't turn the camera at all. So below the main base, I put 2 siege turrets there. Eventually, towards the middle of the mission, and they really smoke the Banish pretty well. So like even if if you see a couple stragglers kind of coming around, they're gonna take care of them pretty well. So those things do come in handy. So I did I struggled with this the first time, and I think I was deploying more of the strategy that you guys did, where you're really putting your units close to the barriers. The strategy that worked the best for me is not even letting them get anywhere near the barriers at all. So what I did is I just went pretty much all Hornets and maybe a couple Marines here and there, and then Douglas, I used him to grab a Wraith, and then eventually a Locust when those guys come in. And so what I did is that little island where you get your first mini base, that little plateau, I stuck all my units that I got right away right on top of that thing, or I guess in front of it, so not on top, but below, but kind of where those two lanes come through and converge. So I put a big army right there, right to start. So they didn't even get anywhere near, and they do a good enough job because there's not that many enemies, and I built up a couple turrets on the ridges in that area and made them all anti-infantry. So for the first, I don't know, 8-10 minutes of the assault, it's just kind of coming from that side. So I was able to build up a good army there. I did send off 2 Marines just to go off and grab those little mini bases that are off on the sides of the map. And I think on one of them I built an armory so I could eventually do the reinforcements and the what's the one where you build faster and whatnot? What's that one called?
Adrenaline?
Like logistics or
advanced
something?
Logistics, yeah. So I was able to kind of ramp all that sort of stuff. Of course, I grabbed my power nodes right away. And then, so I did the initial choke point at the very top. And then I eventually moved that army down to to the right of the base. Because then, eventually they send a bunch of vehicles out that one lane to the right and down below that a little bit. So I just sent a big army right there, right by the ramp that leads up to your base. So I just put a bunch of Hornets there, some Nightingales, Douglas, a couple Marines. And so anything that came down that lane, it didn't even get close to the barrier. They would just all take them out there. I needed to use Archer missiles a little bit, especially when all the Locusts came out towards the end. Because in those Locusts, they can get you from a long ways away. They're the most annoying for me in this mission. Because they'll just kind of creep up a little bit, and then they'll just start taking out one of your Hornets, and your Hornet won't do anything, it won't react, it'll just take it until you have to take your little army over there and start attacking them. So I had one choke point there, and then another choke point just to the right, I guess, of that middle plateau, where the top lanes were kind of feeding down through. And so they would take out all the banished that are coming through those top lanes, and then my other army was taking out all the banished that were coming through on the right of the screen. And when I did it that way, they didn't even make it up to my base at all. They didn't make it to the barriers. Like that. This strategy really, I was very happy with this strategy. It worked out really well.
Were you on heroic?
I did it on both. Yeah, I did it on normal and heroic. It worked out on both. So yeah, and I dropped a couple turrets here and there. I did maybe an ODST if I needed one. So when you do grab that mini base on the very top of the map, it has 2 slots on it. The banished will send some, at least for me, they sent some hunters over there to try to destroy it. But then I'd just do a turret drop right by them, and the turret drop would be strong enough to take out the hunters, and then it would just self-destruct afterwards. Yeah, so it worked out really well. After I really struggled the first couple times I played it on normal. I was like, how am I going to do this? And then kind of figured out the choke points thing. And I did do a little research, so I cheated a little bit. I was looking through the guide a little bit. It's like it talked about choke points, and then I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. All I needed to read was choke points. I was like, okay, now it all is coming together. Because I don't play tower defense games, so this whole concept to me was just like, how am I going to do this? Because you do have to, you really have to multitask. But when you do simplify it to just like, okay, these guys are coming to this point, these guys are coming to this point. As long as I build 2 armies there, then you're in good shape. Yeah, so it wasn't too bad once you deploy that strategy, and just as long as you keep up with your resources and upgrade your supply pads and all that sort of stuff. As long as you have enough resources to build everything out and just kind of plop your guys down there. By the time I was done, I had veterancy on majority of my 2 or 3 on the majority of my units, and they were just mowing down the banished. So it ended up being quite enjoyable towards the my last couple of playthroughs. All right, anything we missed?
No, we can go into trivia if you want.
Yeah, what you got in trivia?
Some little.
Oh wait, we should do the end cutscene really quickly, I guess. So when the mission ends, the particle cannon, I guess, turns off, and that's when the shield of the enduring conviction is down completely, right?
I feel like we have a missed cutscene here. Like, it would have been cool to see that cannon shoot and hit the enduring conviction, to actually see what was happening there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she kind of mentions what the particle cannon is doing in passing, but if you're not paying attention, you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah. It's like this thing is shooting up into the sky, to something,
That's
the
fun.
Enduring Conviction. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they never really, you should be paying attention to the story, but first time playthrough, we've talked about this, like, you don't always pick up on everything. So they've talked about this Enduring Conviction. They never have, like, on the screen with of the ship and then below it a label. This is the Enduring Conviction. So you don't know the naming conventions of the Banished, then it may not make sense. But
the storytelling is very nuanced. You really have to pay attention, put those subtitles on so you can see and you can read. It's probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah. Definitely. What do you got for trivia then, David?
We have, this doesn't really count, but anyway, it's the only level where you get experience turret defense gameplay. No, that's kind of a stretch for trivia. If the enemy vehicles attack the cannon, a veteran Cyclops will drop to assist the player. So I never knew that, but that's kind of cool. They give you a little healer.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, the mini bases are scattered around the southwest and northeast of the map, and the level art features Alice 130 defending the particle cannon, but in gameplay, however, it's only Douglas, as Alice is away on a mission with Jerome to infiltrate Enduring Conviction. So I thought that was interesting. That little mistakey there.
They must have switched it at some point. Because maybe it's because Alice has been on our own too much. You know, they probably realized that. It's like, wait a minute, we gotta team her up with somebody now.
That I realized 2 Spartans on the secret mission makes more sense than 1 just defending an area. That higher success rate with a second Spartan. And that's pretty much it.
All right, there are 2 Phoenix Logs locations. Hard to describe, but I'll just go with what was written down in the guide. It says, on a cliff overlooking the east approach route. And I don't even know which way is east. I feel like north is the left of the map. Anyway. Maybe. Because they kept saying, like, more units from the north. And then the second one is on the walkway from the base of the particle cannon. So that one was by the mini base. One of the mini bases that you grab down there. So what did those have to say, Kristen?
All right, so the first one is called Rise of Atriox IV.
IV?
IV. Yeah, like 4, yeah. Oni section board surveillance transcription of internal communications between D and S. 12/21/2553. 17:02 hours. Full transcription available on request. I'm requesting the full transcription right now. Excuse me? Can I have that, please? Yeah, I guess so. Press the wrong button and it tapped me out. Alright, here we go. D says, what are these? Wraith tanks? What's this other vehicle? I don't recognize it. S says, not many people would, sir. These are banished units. The other thing we're not sure about. Some kind of airborne artillery. With the war over, there's an awful lot of material out there for the taking. No Covenant also means Atriox can stop running. D says, but if the Covenant have gone, what is he fighting for? I guess he could be making a bid for Dozik? Brutes don't have a strong leader to stabilize them since the end of the war, and that's a good thing. S says, I don't think so, sir. Throughout the war, he has always been about raiding and building up his army. He never struck directly against the Covenant unless there was something to gain from it. Never took territory, never made demands or speeches. He kept as low as he could, a small target. Now his target has become more focused. Less hit and runs than surgical strikes. And he's still recruiting. Even some of the Let Golo are now joining him, as well as more ex-Covenant who don't want to stop fighting. The Covenant was never the target. They were just convenient suppliers. He's just getting started. Bum, bum, bum!
So what's the takeaway from that?
He's just getting started.
They're trying to figure out his motivations, which is like, oh, okay, tell me more. And then we don't really get it.
So it seems like the Covenant was just a means to an end for him. He was just gathering his army, collecting supplies from them, and just kind of waiting out the Covenant war to see what would happen. Now that the Covenant War is over, it seems that the actual goal of the Banished is going to come to fruition. We don't know what that goal is, but we know that throughout the Covenant War, he wasn't actually he was planning, but not executing.
Right.
So we haven't actually seen the Banished, focused in doing something. We've just seen them gathering.
So it must be pronounced maybe Doizak? That's
Doizak,
the Jirlane homeworld planet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think Atriox gives two shits about that.
Because they're saying he could be making a bid for Doizak, but the Bruins don't have a strong leader to stabilize them up. So he's just trying to build. He doesn't care about the homeworld. He's just trying to build a strong contingent around him. Give people, that's interesting.
Yeah, for some reason he has some goal in mind that he's creating an army to obtain.
Right.
And I
but
don't
still
know what
not
that
clear.
is. No one knows. Yeah. Maybe Infinite will reveal something.
Or there's another Rise of Atriox. Phoenix Log.
Part 2. Okay. Alright, Professor. The next one is Chrysalis. Chrysalis. Oh my god, I've never actually seen that word.
Yeah, bizarre.
It's one of those words that you know what the word is and you talk about it, but if you've never seen it written out, it's one of those words. I'm not sure if you guys understand.
It's a dinosaur.
Yeah. So, Professor Ellen Anders, civilian consultant, 500-493, Spirit of Fire date 3/30/2559. I've been examining data pulled from the Amber Lake and cross-referencing against Isabel's information banks on the Forerunners. I couldn't help but draw a parallel with the amber that fossilized long-dead species on Earth. Oh no, it's Jurassic Park, guys.
It is dinosaurs.
Ah, shit. Except on Earth, these biological relics were preserved when they fell. Here, despite all appearances, everything has been constructed and planned. The Ark is part of a larger plan spun by the Librarian, and the UNSC archives say this war was a plan for humanity. New Mombasa was the first city to have an orbital elevator, also the site of the portal that led to the Ark. Was this all part of the Librarian's plan? Could she have manipulated our evolution just so we would discover the portal? If we are these reclaimers, as so often claimed, does it mean that we are predestined to follow a set path, or are we merely being guided to assume a greater role in the universe? On the other hand, it is thrilling that we may be finally uncovering the great questions as to why we are here, but it also scares me. It feels like we're preserved specimens under the surface of the Amber Lake, observed by some great unknown eye. I need to get back to work, but I have come back to this when I have the time. If we have the time. Back to it, Ellen.
So it's like a journal entry. Or she's
having an existential crisis.
But she's writing this letter to somebody because she signs off Ellen. Like, you don't do that in a journal entry.
No.
Interesting.
Maybe it's for her future self.
Yeah. And she talks about the Librarian. I don't think we talked about Librarian in Halo Wars 1.
No, it's probably information from Isabel.
Yeah, so she's just discovering all this stuff that we know now. Yeah. Like, she's almost as caught up in the lore as we are now.
Yeah, she's just read all the books.
Exactly.
It's a good AI.
So I wonder if Isabel has her copy of the Born-Stellar relation.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if she has access to that, because I would imagine that's like highly classified, but that really explains a lot of the Didact Librarian stuff. Or if all the information on the Librarian she has is from their encounter with Master Chief.
Right. And the Born-Stellar relation, see, that's right in this era, right around here, when they found it.
Yeah, and that's literally just the Forerunner trilogy. It's literally just those books.
Exactly.
So it's interesting that she's talking about this. It's interesting because it's kind of what has happened, and it's like the question of, do we actually have free will, or is this all just the Librarian's bidding that we're doing?
Existential crisis right here.
Yeah, it's a really interesting conversation in Halo. I like it when people talk about it. So that's it, guys. That's all I got.
Very nice.
That's enough.
Those are good conversations. I like those. All right, let's do some trivia, or not trivia. We'll do some community, and we'll get out of here. What's Facebook got to say?
Communities. Into the Facebook, we have Mr. Colin Perkins, admin 5 days ago. Ooh, Colin was on the ball with this. Look at him. Create a super interesting storyline for a Halo Tower Defense game. Holy shit, Colin. Question for Mission Debrief, Halo Wars 2, Hold the Line mission. We have 5.
Do Tower Defense... The tower defense games, because I don't play them, do they have stories? Or do they just, is it just the gameplay mechanic?
Okay, they might do.
They do.
I've never played like a tower defense game, but I've played like there was a period of time where they cropped into games. So like Assassin's Creed has like a tower defense part of it and all that kind of stuff.
There's a game called Toy Soldiers that I messed around with a little bit, and that's a tower defense.
I used to remember those games. Or am I thinking
I don't
of
remember the story.
Army Men? Do you remember those Army Men games? I used to love them. They were cool. Anyway, Lucas Fitzer, there's a Forerunner artifact inside a mine. The only way to access the mine is by moving through a narrow ravine. Aircraft are too large to fit, so it has to be traversed by land.
Nice.
Patrick says, take similar maps from Halo Wars 2 and you can put different true types and structure types at designated spots on the map, but increasing wave strength and speed. With the ability to upgrade each tower and or troop encampment, the game stays somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
Richard says, use the same story as the last mission in Reach, defend the Pillar of Autumn. That's cool. In fact, I'm thinking you could somehow turn all Halo missions into a tower defense format. It would be a cool app or phone for the Halo fans. That would actually could be released in chapters. That's actually quite cool. I like that. Storm says there is a Forerunner foundry on an isolated island, and the only way is to travel via air. But as soon as you get there, it has to move to ground units. Ooh. Richard Myers says, the Siege of Mardi Gras, you're the UNSC forces that got there too late, so you can barely save civilians and end up barely struggling to keep the bases from attacking. You can use the fresh secret music cue for the main menu. Ooh. There we go.
Very nice.
Dunzo.
Thanks everybody for participating. Discord, what do you have to say?
Alright, so the George status bot says George is alive. Wait, no, I misread the cue card. George is dead. I think that's great. That would be a great tower defense game. It's just a George's
dead.
Jedi Spartan 38 says the Covenant have created Hergolox as the latest Hergok variant, and are now sending them against human bases across the galaxy as the 26th century version of the classic balloon tower defense game. Spartans defend with varying levels of turrets, from George's machine gun to fuel rod shades. So apparently the George status bot was really, really fast, because he apparently posted first and then he mentioned George.
Wouldn't that be, like, prevent George from dying? That's the tower defense game. That's it.
That'd be great,
but
no,
he dies every time.
He always dies in the
Exactly.
end. Yeah,
it's impossible.
Matt says the part of the package from Halo Reach where you're defending Halsey's lab. There are plenty of pathing opportunities, and there's there's already turrets as part of the map. Just make that perfect. I want Halsey to criticize you the entire time. Be like, oh, you're choosing that? You're like, stop it, Halsey! I'm trying my best. That's what I want. Alright. Claptrap says, any factions defending against the Flood, you can put down fire teams, parked or hovering vehicles, or turrets.
Nice.
Barlet King says, you play inside of Keyes or Cortana's mind while the Gravemind is trying to get the info out them. Turrets units represent their consciousness trying to defend the brain, while the Flood units represent the Gravemind's neural attacks.
Ooh.
That's pretty sweet, actually. I'm into that too. Floody things. Brain things. Third says, zoom out, galaxy scale. Medicant bias versus offensive bias. Though that might work better as a 4x civilization type game.
4x, yeah.
Yeah. Hector says, the rest of the remaining Spartans on board the UNSC Infinity are called away to a Forerunner tower within Onyx after the events of Legacy of Onyx. The tower has become active and now shoots lasers and shit into the sky. Defend the tower at all cost. Cortana will be interested. Good luck, Spartans. Lasky out.
Nice.
You have to defend the tower from Cortana's forces and the Banished on Heroic and Legendary, blow them up and cut them in this epic TPS and FPS game Halo spin-off. Give them hell.
Like it.
Tom Baum says, just the first part of the Halo mission from CE, but you're defending the Pulse Tower from the Covenant and the Flood while you wait for a glassing beam.
Oh, okay.
And that's it.
Very nice.
Yay!
Awesome ideas.
Woo!
Thank you.
No one had an Arbiter idea, huh?
No RBA? Oh, that'd be good.
No Arbiter ideas. I'd love to be the Arbiter doing shit.
Just defending something.
Defending
With
things.
Energy
yeah.
sword.
The Prophet's Bane, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I like it. All right, that will do it for our debriefing of the Hold the Line mission from Halo Wars 2. On the next episode, we'll be covering Under the Dark, the second half of our plot, our brainchild of Isabel's. Send us your thoughts. podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. And don't forget that free audiobook trial. Visit audibletrial.com/podcastevolved. Until next time, evolve.
Evolve!
Evolved. Yay!